I believe that there is so much power in the words that we speak and what we say to people. I mean, you never know what phrase you say or what conversation that you have with someone that's going to be a point in their identity and defining who they are. And so when I called this little girl a cowgirl, I mean it.
Hey, y'all, and welcome. You're listening to the Cowgirl Confessions podcast. I'm your host, Dakota Dawn Johnson, small-town cowgirl with Southern roots, blazing a trail as a Midwest ranch wife, mama, and businesswoman. The mission of Cowgirl Confessions is to share the wonderfully wild and Western life stories of cowgirls from all walks of life. We'll talk about the highs, the lows, and everything in between when it comes to navigating careers, cowboys, kids, and cattle. Legendary cowgirl Dale Evans said it best. Cowgirl is a pioneer spirit, a special brand of American courage. The cowgirl faces life head on, lives by her own lights, and makes no excuses. Cowgirls take stands. They speak up. They defend the things they hold dear. A cowgirl might be a rancher, a barrel racer, a bull rider, or an actress. But she's just as likely to be a checker at the local Winn-Dixie, a full-time mother, a banker, an attorney, or an astronaut. If you're into wet saddle blankets, talks with God, buckets full of laughter, and the life lessons learned in the process, kick off your boots and settle in. I pray these stories encourage, empower, and give you just the leg up you need. Here's to embracing the cowgirl state of mind, no matter how wild and Western life may get along the way.
The Southern Belle Classic, the South's elite horse sale, will be held March 22nd and 23rd, 2024.
At the beautiful Stable View in Aiken, South Carolina.
Where 22 of the nation's top trainers and consigners will present 60 hand-selected horses.
Who have all been x-rayed and vet-checked prior to arrival.
Join us for 2 exciting days of previews, trial rides, food, and shopping.
Go to southernbelleclassic.com for more information.
Hello, friend, and welcome to another episode of the Cowgirl Confessions podcast. Thank you for joining me today. I am thrilled, like over the moon thrilled about our guest today because she is a cowgirl I have known for many, many moons. We came up through the ranks of junior and high school rodeo together and have recently reconnected, and it has just been so good for my soul. It's like, oh, thank you, Jesus. So my friend Katie that is joining us today, she is a wife to a cowboy. She is a mama, and she also has a lot of different hats that she's wearing between her full-time career. What she's also brought on is her side hustle right now. And I'm just really, really grateful to have her on here to where she can share more about how God's working and showing up in her life. By day, she is a library media specialist, and then she is also a podcast manager. So hence, she is why things are looking better and sounding better on the Cowgirl Confessions podcast. Katie, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Dakota. To be honest, I feel like my right arm here can relax a little bit because you don't have to twist it anymore. Like I'm here and we're ready to talk. So thanks for having me.
You bet. Y'all, right before we push record on here, I was like, okay, Katie, be honest. You feel like you're about to run down the alleyway on a seasoned barrel horse, or you feel like you're on a colt? Because I want you to feel like you're on a seasoned barrel horse. You got this. And so we just headed in to make a run, and this is going to be a great episode. I have no doubt. So Katie, if you could just please share with the listeners a little bit about what your roots within the Western industry look like and what day-to-day life looks like right now.
Yeah, so I'm what I would consider a first-generation cowgirl. So I did not grow up with my parents having anything to do with horses. I fell in love with horses at a very young age and have just been so blessed by so many people to just take me under their wing and show me the ropes. Like everything that I've learned has been from someone really outside of my family. So I'm super appreciative to this day of people who are so willing to just pour to others, because that's definitely what I have to give credit to, is those people who have just given me their time when they didn't have to. So I started racing, I guess, whenever I was in maybe the second grade. And like you said, I junior rodeoed and then high school rodeoed a little bit and then played around some in college. But things changed once I got married and we started having a family. I do still have horses. We both still own horses, but to be honest with you, my life revolves around team roping and kids. So I don't really have much to do with barrel racing anymore. But to be completely honest with you, though, I love it. I love this season that we're in, and I really enjoy getting just go be the wife and, support my husband and chase my kids around while we're there. It's just a special season. And so I'm really trying to embrace where I'm at. And I know that barrel racing will come along for me again one day. And that's okay that I'm not there now. So that's what we're doing. My husband and I have three kids, and they are ages 4, 3, and 1. So we're super busy with that. And they love the horses and they love hunting and fishing. And so we're just constantly outside. That's really who we are, is being outside all the time. And we're really enjoying it, soaking it all up.
I can so relate to what you said about, your life revolves around team roping and kids right now. And I feel that way about breakaway roping will be there and I will get back to that, and that can be a focus. But right now, just really enjoying making memories and being in a position to serve,
That's
and be
right.
part of a team. And so I really appreciate you sharing that. And now I would be remiss if I didn't bring up, I know you also have a serious love for another event and athletes on the other end of the arena. That's right?
I do. So I was super fortunate through college to have the opportunity to go and be a driver for a couple of barrel racers that were on the road. And I was introduced to the sport of saddle bronc and bareback riding. And no offense to those in the South, but it is just a different ball game when you go out with. I mean, it is different. And I fell in love with bucking horses. And while that's probably not for me right now, I just like to think when I get to heaven that I'll own a few bucking horses. So I have a mad love for those animals. I think they are just incredible athletes.
Oh, so cool. And how neat that you got to help be a driver for some NFR qualifiers that were on the road running barrels and whatnot. Share a little bit more with us about that if you don't mind, Katie.
Yeah, I will. So whenever I was in college, I was working for Darren Scholl, and let's see, Kimmy Wall actually came through and visited at our farm there that I was working at, and it was her rookie year, and she was getting geared up for her summer run, and I just spoke up and was like, "Hey, if you need a driver, give me a call." And little did I know she was actually going to do. So she called, and it was my first bout. I flew into Reno and met her there, and then I went, all over the place with from there and got to meet just some incredible people. And I loved being out there. And the very next summer rolled around, and Darren actually had a horse on the road, Good Frenchman's Friday. And I had the opportunity to really just kind of be Friday's chauffeur. So I chauffeured him around for, I guess, 3 different years. And so I drove for Paige, and then I drove also for Erica Nelson. And I just got to see some of the most beautiful country. And so I'm incredibly thankful for that. I think there was a Facebook post that I made right there at the last year that I drove for Erica, just thinking back and reflecting on that opportunity. And, there's some people who dream about making the NFR, running down the Thomas Mack alleyway. And that's amazing. That's a super cool accomplishment on its own. But that was never my dream. For me, just being able to go out there and experience all that in the way I did, that was enough for me. So, gosh, I just feel like I'm always in debt to Darren just because he provided me with such a cool opportunity to go and be a part of that. And, otherwise I probably would never do so. So I knew that that would be my last go round, because while I was on the road with Erica for the last time, I found out I was pregnant with my first little girl. So I knew that would be it for me, that I'd have to come home and be mom. And that's what we're doing now.
Oh my goodness, so neat. So for anybody listening that is wondering what that might really look like, is it when you're being a driver, for barrel racers? I feel like that could probably look a little different depending on the event. So share with us maybe some of your favorite road snacks, favorite travel tips that made it easy. And were you doing a lot of that solo driving, or did you have somebody with you?
Hey, let me tell you, those people who are out there doing that, that is hard. That is such hard work. Whenever I was on the road for those girls, they took care of their horses majority of the time. Like, I didn't really have much to do with the horses. And it was my mission to drive as much as I possibly could. I tried to stay behind the wheel. I tried to give them that opportunity to rest or, to talk to their family or whatever they needed to do. But I think really just the main thing is sleep when you can sleep, and eat good when you can, and exercise when you can, which is a whole nother ball game. But just trying to stay healthy, really, I think is staying on the top of your game is the best way to make it happen.
Well, what a unique experience. And no doubt you made some great connections there, memories to last a lifetime. And I know that you being able to share that with all of your kids, but you've got two little cowgirls and just, man, so special that you'll be able to tell them that, hey, your mom helped, this NFR qualifier, get there to the Thomas and Mack. I just think that's so incredibly special. So, Katie, what advice do you have for someone finding a way to navigate the responsibilities and opportunities within careers, Cowboys, kids, and cattle? Because as you shared earlier, you were out, you were helping drive, you had a lot of different things happening, but then you knew it was time for a transition as you headed into the season of motherhood. So what advice do you have for us?
Oh, let's see. For me, my one and like non-negotiable thing that I do every single day is I wake up before Mark does. I wake up before my kids do. And like that's intentional. Like I do that on purpose. I get up every morning and fix myself a cup of coffee and I sit in the quiet of the living room and open up my Bible and I read every single morning. Like it doesn't matter what kind of night we had. It doesn't matter where we are. Like that Bible that's sitting on my side table right now is the same Bible that I hauled with me all across the country. And I read every single day. Like you said, I have been through a lot of transitions that have all been for the better. I mean, I've welcomed all of them. And this coming up year is also going to be a big transition year for us as Callahan's getting ready for kindergarten. And we're excited about that. But, I couldn't keep that kind of peace that I do if it weren't for getting up every morning and spending time in the Word. I feel like that gives me an opportunity to just be in the place where God wants me to be, whether it's peace for my day, I've got to have joy for my day. And yeah, I think that perspective, that's really the main thing is waking up with just such a grateful heart and spending my time where I know it's most valuable. It puts me in the right headspace, I guess, if you will, as I begin my day. So I think that's important really for anybody. If you don't have that habit or that practice put in place, I would encourage you to do so. It really can completely change your life. That would be my best advice.
That's one of the things that I love about us getting to work together and we've reconnected and because you're now the podcast manager for Cowgirl Confessions podcast. But I feel like every time I get to talk to you, I'm getting a dose of Jesus and I cannot tell you like how I just need it. Like I feel like none of us get too much of that no matter what you're doing. And so I love that it's intertwined in the work that I'm getting to do and that you're bringing that to this podcast because I don't want those to be two separate things. I want people when they see me or talk to me or hear this podcast, like they know Jesus is all over this thing or it wouldn't be happening.
Right.
And you bring that, to the table. So let's shift gears for a minute, Katie, and talk about you stepping into this role, this additional hat you're wearing now as a podcast manager.
I can't even tell you how I come to this. So I have to just say it's a total God thing that he's moved me into this position. I do a lot of learning through my job as a library media specialist. I'm constantly learning new technologies, AI, artificial intelligence. Like I am just constantly learning and I enjoy that. I enjoy learning and challenging myself to continue to learn something new. And I don't know. I guess one day I was scrolling through Instagram and there was this ad that Michaela Quinn had posted on her Instagram. And I had never even heard anything about freelancing or knew absolutely nothing about it and what that was. And so I just clicked on it out of curiosity. Like I said, I'm always trying to learn something new and learning, especially skills that I feel like could be beneficial for me and for my family. And so I went through her course and learned all of these different things like, oh gosh, I mean, there's just, you can be a virtual assistant or you can be a photographer or a podcast manager. I mean, the list goes on and on of the things that you can do from your computer. And so when I got to thinking about my skill set, I thought, I can do that. That's no problem. I know how to do all of those things. So why am I not doing it? And if I'm being completely honest, the podcast manager was really the last one on my list. I mean, the thought of audio really made me nervous to begin with. And then the more I started thinking about who do I know that does this type of work, I thought, oh gosh, the only person I know is Dakota. So I'm going to give her a call and just pick her brain and see if this is even a thing. And then, I called you that day and the first thing you said was, I hope you're about to say what I think you're going to say. And I'm like, holy moly, I don't even know what you're expecting. But here I am. I'm just giving it my best effort and I've learned so much and it's so fun. Like I was just editing an episode yesterday that'll be coming out here in a couple months for you. And I was just smiling and enjoying the wisdom that, one of your future guests is going to bring to the table. And it's just so enjoyable to just listen. I love, listening and taking in any wisdom that someone else can give to me. And so it's so much fun. But like I said, I do think that my full-time job that I'm in has really equipped me with the skills to be able to do this and to be successful. So I'm super excited about where it's going to take me. And I tell you what I've loved most about it is that it has, I feel like, brought my personality back out. I have started putting myself back out there. I haven't been afraid to talk to people. Like I'm sure someone's going to listen to this podcast and say, Katie Beck Gentry, you were never afraid to talk to someone, but I have been. Okay. Somewhere along the way, like I think I lost that part of my personality. I don't know if it was chasing kids around and, just being so out of touch with people in a sense, but I've really enjoyed just reconnecting with people, especially in the Western industry and just talking to people who understand our lifestyle because it's totally different. I mean, we have some amazing friends here in our community, but they have no idea, really what the Western industry is all about or even, just our way of life because it looks so different. It takes us out of town, on important weekends. Things are going on around in the community and we miss out on a lot, but we're also there for a lot with our rodeo families. So I'm just so excited to reconnect with people in this industry and be able to be a part of it in a way that I never even knew was a such thing. So I'm so glad to be back at it.
Yes, I'm just glad. I will never forget exactly where I was at when we were on the phone. I was driving home from the airport and you and I had not connected other than liking each other's stuff on Facebook or whatever, probably in a decade, I would say.
Yeah,
Maybe,
probably.
maybe not quite a decade, like, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 years. And it's just one of those things where, life happens, you get busy, I moved, but then it was like such a breath of fresh air when I was like, heck yeah, I'd love to talk to Katie Gentry on my way home. And then 15 minutes into however long I talked your ear off, I'm not even sure. It's an hour and a half home from the airport. And I'm pretty sure I started talking to you right after I left. But I just remember thinking, this is what I've been praying for because as a podcast host and somebody who and producer, I was wearing all the hats, like I had just been praying like, God, please give me somebody that I feel like I can hand this over to that will take the reins, but like they understand what this is about, kind of just like an extension of me in the best way. You know what I'm saying? And so being able to like love and want this to be something really God's work. And so you were saying things on the phone that day that I was thinking, and I was like, okay, God, I don't know how I'm gonna pay her, but we're gonna pay her, and we're gonna say, Katie, please come help us with the podcast. So it was just one of those where like, okay, we're gonna act on this out of faith, and I feel like we'll have future episodes where you come on and we can dive more into podcast specifics and things that you've done. I feel like that have just really allowed me to lean into my expertise and what I enjoy doing, but then also, it's blessed you because it's given you business and you're getting to do the things that you're super great at. And so I just can't say enough good things about how happy I am to have you part of this team for the podcast.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And, you were saying being able to hand it over to someone like that's something that I take very seriously and I love having the responsibility of is just treating something like it's my own. I think, the company that my husband works for, they have this incredible community of people who are been so loyal to that company for so many years. And I'm always amazed at how much every single employee there treats that company like it's their own. And that's why they're so successful in what they do. And so like moving forward and moving into a spot where like I'm having my own business, which I never would have dreamed about, but like I want to be able to provide that for someone else. So when you hand me over your podcast, like I'm treating it like my own. I want to make sure that when I put my stamp of Katie Gentry on there, like I want it to be leave it better than I found it kind of mentality. So yeah, thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you mentioned your husband, Mark, and we all love a good love story. So tell us how you and Mark met, but then also like
what led into it being an actual, like, okay, I love you, and we're going to get married and start a family?
Oh man, this makes me blush a little. Um,
You know
so
it's
I
going to
was
be good
working,
then.
yeah. So I was working for Darren, and I was rodeoing at the time, and I was getting ready to move. Things just, at the time seemed stressful. I look back on it now and I'm like, oh my gosh, girl, that was not stressful at all. But it was just busy. And I had a friend that was rodeoing, and he texted me and he was like, hey, just come jump in the truck with us and go to this rodeo and we'll drop you back off tonight. And I'm like, heck yeah, like I am getting out of town for the day. And so I went and got in the truck with him, and Mark was with him and he was driving. And it's really this kind of a funny story because they all are like, what in the world just happened? Like this guy invited her, and then by the end of the night, she's talking to this guy, so it's truly funny, which really, the other guy was just a friend. And, we are still friends with all of them to this day. So it's really kind of a funny story. But I had only told like one person that I was talking to Mark because I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, this is really too good to be true. And so the rodeo team like goes out to dinner. Someone asked me, they're like, so I hear you talking to Mark. And oh my gosh, like I was so mad because I'm like, I know that I told you not to tell anyone, like here you are telling. And come to find out, it was Mark. It was Mark that had told someone, that we were talking. And I thought, oh, we're talking, like this is serious. We're talking, I can share. But anyways, we just jumped off to a really great start and just talked for hours on the phone and enjoyed all the same things. And it was just really natural, really from the get-go. And we share the same values, and I really wanted to go the same places in life. So it's just been an easy road for us. I mean, we've both been so blessed. But I love being Mark's wife. Like it's truly one of the joys of my life. And oh man, I'm just so thankful really for him and what he brings out in me. So it's funny, I was saying earlier that one of the important parts of my day is getting up super early before everyone and just spending time in the Word. And people would tell me, "Oh, Katie, you're just so laid back. I don't know how you do that or this." And I just kind of laugh because really that's not my nature. Like by nature, I want to just be wound tight and, super talkative, always on the go. And I think Mark brings that out in me because if, you remember anything about Mark, he has just the calmest demeanor about him. He never gets worked up. He never gets upset. I don't know that I've ever seen him mad a day in my life. He has brought out just the best side of me that I guess I could possibly have. And I owe a lot of that to him because that's really just his nature. So together, I feel like we complement each other really well and we bring out the best in each other. Yeah, so I've been trying to do life together ever since. We've recently started building a new place and what I would like to think is our forever home, but he's also a salesman. So anything on our property is for sale other than me or the kids. So hopefully we're there forever. But yeah, it's been an amazing ride so far. And I'm always just excited to see what's going to come next.
When it comes to navigating careers, cowboys, kids, and cattle, it can feel lonely sometimes, like you're down in the trenches trying to do all the things. But I want to share with you that it doesn't have to feel that way. I joined the Cowgirls Over Coffee membership in May of 2020, and y'all, it has been such a gift. It has allowed me to connect with women with that Western and rural background that simply get it. They understand what I'm working with. We get to share strategies, encouragement, and hold each other accountable as we're pursuing goals in all of these different areas of life. To learn more, visit cowgirlsovercoffee.com or check out episode 45 of the Cowgirl Confessions podcast that features the founder of Cowgirls Over Coffee, Thea Larson. I hope to see you there.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Selfishly, I wanted to know because I think about couples that I've known you individually since I was in like fourth and fifth grade. And then like you guys, and then like Randa and Kyle Irwin and stuff. It's like we grew up together, but you guys weren't together until we were like in adulthood. And so thank you for sharing that story, and just really excited for the life y'all have created that you're walking out, and the things that are to come, and so related to you saying he's a salesman, because I feel the same way. I'm like, the only thing that is safe on our property is me and our kids, because Tyler Johnson is the same way. It's like, we'll buy another one. We'll build another one. We'll do something. And so, it's good. It's good to have those people that don't get too terribly attached to all the other things.
That's right. It's helped me too. Yeah. Before I was pretty sentimental, but I've learned to let that stuff go. So I try not to take stuff too personal these days, and I try not to get too attached. So
love that. Well, Katie, what advice and steps do you have for someone that is interested in doing what you do? And when I ask that question, I'd love for you to answer it really from all angles, as a wife, a godly woman, a mom, working within the education system, and then also now being a freelancer, kind of wherever you want to go with that question. But I'm sure there's people listening that are like, I wish somebody would just tell me step by step, or at least give me the first 2 steps of what I do to get to where you're at today.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. The first thing that I would say definitely is you need to begin praying about it. Like, if you're ready for change in your life, I would definitely say that's the first place that you need to go. Your very best roadmap is going to be your Bible. So I would open that thing up and just start. I promise you, it doesn't matter where you start, like, He will start speaking. We serve an amazing God. I love this era that we're in, and you can learn anything you want, whenever you want, and really at an affordable cost. So just start learning. Don't be afraid to take risks. Put yourself out there. Talk to people. I joke all the time, but it's really so real. But a lot of times it's not, the piece of paper that you earned from some university or whatever, but it's really your network and who you know. So network and make those connections and talk to people that you know. Really figure out who you are and what your skill set is, and go and find what you want to do. Like, there's so much stuff that's out there that really I'm continuing to learn about myself that your skill set's needed in. I'll be honest, I'm overcoming this right now, or I'm working through this right now. Don't limit yourself, because God can do so much more with your life than we can ever imagine, on this side of heaven. So when you are thinking, think big. Dream big and go for that. Like, don't settle for what you think you can do inside of your strengths, but think big and know what kind of God that we serve, and know that He can work through you in the most powerful ways. So that would be my best recommendation, is lean into Him and believe in who you are and go for it.
That is incredible advice, sister, and a perfect segue to lead into our last question to wrap up the show. And you know how this goes, friend. Tell me in your own words, what does the cowgirl state of mind mean to you?
Oh, Dakota, I really had to think about this a lot, because we have 3-year-old that we call cowgirl probably on a daily basis. I mean, this girl, she is the epitome of cowgirl. And I was thinking about this months ago. I thought, I believe that there is so much power in the words that we speak and what we say to people. I mean, you never know, like, what phrase you say or what conversation that you have with someone that's going to be a point in their identity and defining who they are. And so when I called this little girl a cowgirl, I mean it, because in my heart, I believe that the cowgirl state of mind belongs to a woman or a girl who wakes up every day, plants their boots on the ground, and knows that they are going to be the best stewards of everything that God has entrusted to them, whether it's your family, whether it's your job, whether it's your finances or your skills. Like, you are going to give the absolute best you have to everything that God's entrusted to you. And so to me, that's what makes the cowgirl state of mind, is someone who does just that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, friend. This is going to be the first of many episodes with us together. And I'm just grateful for you, Katie. So grateful.
Oh, thank you, Dakota. I'm grateful for you too. It's been so much fun getting started, and I'm excited to see where we go. So thank you.
Thank you for spending your time with me on the Cowgirl Confessions podcast. I'm so glad y'all stopped by. If you could take a moment to share this episode and tag us on social media, I'd be happier than a cowgirl in a sea of buy one, get one vintage turquoise. Subscribe to make sure you don't miss an episode. New episodes will be released bi-monthly. Please leave us a review if you feel so led by going to iTunes. Your feedback will really help us breed the idea of grabbing life by the horns with a cowgirl state of mind into women across the globe. Some that may have never even had the privilege to throw their leg over a horse, but could most certainly use the cowgirl state of mind while navigating life. Thanks again, y'all. Until next time, keep pursuing your dreams with that all go and no woe mentality. Remember, you're writing a story that's worth saddling up for, sister.